Why do the benefits of a definition of done increase the earlier you have one?
Well, um, if you start off with a definition of done too late, when we say definition of done, um, it's not that there's always a definition of done. Whether or not you've documented it is neither here nor there, right? At the very least, you'll have a real definition of done, or at least to the best of your knowledge, by the time that you're done implementing. Actually, even more so by the time that you've resolved all of the defects and you've done all of the rework and have addressed all of the complaints, that might have resulted from implementing the wrong thing or not implementing everything, or implementing it correctly, right? So at some point in time, you will have a definition of done. In other words, what was everything that needed to have been done in order to call this work complete? If you wait until the end, then there's going to be a massive risk um, of missing things, not building all the things, not building the right things, and not even having had that shared understanding, if you will, etc. Not completing certain tasks, creating documentation and things like that, etc. Right? So the sooner that you get that definition of done, the more value you get, because it reduces the chance of implementing the wrong thing, having the wrong understanding, not completing various different things that you needed to have completed. And by going through the motions of creating a definition of done, you're creating that understanding of what all needs to be done, scope, and do we understand this correctly, and all that, right? Now, it's not, there's a certain point at which it doesn't help you, because if you just start off with something, you just have some ideation, you say, well, okay, I need to have a definition of done, but you don't really understand even what it is that you need to be building. There's no real value in that. So that's not, there's like a diminishing return if you start too early. But at some point in time, you start understanding, you want to start documenting scope, you want to start understanding, what is this the work going to look like? And as soon as you have that, you start forming that understanding, you should start documenting that definition of that. And the sooner you can get that to complete and accurate and agreed upon prior to implementation starting, the better off you'll be in keeping you focused on the scope, keeping you a clear understanding of what all needs to be done.
With regard to timing, you and Max also have this really interesting concept of how readiness can decay. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, I totally get it. I've never had that image before, but I think that's really smart. Can you talk about what it means for readiness that once it's been established to decay?
Yeah, I mean, what's that? What's that old saying? The only thing in life that stays constant is change itself, right? So if you try to create readiness, let's say we think we're ready with something. Let's go to an absurd amount of time. We create readiness a year before we're going to start implementing it. Well, what can change in that year? And customer expectations can change. Perhaps the nature of the change that we need to make might change, because maybe we've built something else. And so a lot of different things can change. Other things can change, such as our availability of people. We need to be availability of stakeholders, etc. So things can change. And if you are ready too soon, then you're opening yourself up for having to address those changes as they come up. But if you say that you're ready months in advance, are you still truly ready by the time you get to implementation? So if you just assume that you're ready because you said 2 months ago that you were ready, well, that's probably a dangerous assumption. Does that make sense?
Yes, that totally makes sense. I really like that. You can imagine all kinds of analogies, but it's kind of like, you know, you're all ready. You've put on I don't know, like I'm in Canada, you've put on your ice hockey kind of gear and you're ready. Are you going to want to even be in that state for too long before the game starts, right? And what happens? You start sitting down, your shoelaces start coming loose, or you speak. That's way they use like that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, and this is it's almost the antithesis to waterfall, right? So sometimes people would say, well, all of this upfront readiness is like waterfall. It's like, no, actually, that's the problem with waterfall is you try to do all of that readiness of big design up front, all right in the beginning before you even get to a point of developing anything. So yeah, how much can change during that time that you're writing months and months and months of specifications? Well, that readiness decays. So yeah,